I told John the story of the Beatles and Apple releasing Sgt. Pepper LP in the stores on a Thursday.
That's a great piece.
And
I want to
released
talk about
on, and here it was, Brian Epstein had the Savile Theatre in London, beautiful, you know, antique vaudevillian, you know, formal theater with proscenium stage and a balcony and terraced boxes. And he would promote like 3-act bills, much like Bill Graham's Fillmore's, every Sunday night. And he'd have 2 shows, like a 7 o'clock show, a 10 o'clock show. And so, you know, I told John that Chaz obviously had gotten Jimmy and the experience, this gig playing at the Monterey Pop Festival in California. And so literally a week in front of that, Jimmy had played was booked for the Savile Theatre that Sunday night. And I told him that McCartney and Jane Asher and George Harrison and his wife Patty were in attendance. And Jimmy had the temerity, the balls, the confidence to walk out on stage without any rehearsal other than a dressing room run-through rehearsal and a couple listens of the LP, literally, and walked out on stage with Mitch and Noel and played Open with
It's one of
Sgt. Pepper.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Thank you. And so I had told this story to John, that first meeting, that first lunch. And yeah, Danny, great. But he, you know, felt confident with his ending. And much to his credit, you know, 2.5 years later, a month before we started shooting, John just was absolutely inspired, called me one early morning from London and said, you know, I've just written 22 pages, and it blew my mind. All that talking, all that jabbering, all of my chatter to him, it
got in his head.
It took.
It got in his head.
And he just did a draft that was so clever, so poetic, so beautiful, but culminating with this performance. Because I just told him that I felt that everyone knows what happens when the band walks through Heathrow on their way to Monterey.
Right.
Everyone's seen the wild thing, and you know what Don Pennebaker, you know,
the fire,
you know, grabbed so beautifully, and humping the amps and the gasoline on the guitar, all of that. And so, you know, with that, I then had, you know, with him calling me with this epiphany, and it was such a creative spark that I'd yet to see out of him, but was so inspirational to me. And then, of course, you know, it would be a dare to anyone else. Great. Now, you know, I hung up the phone with him and I go, great, now I've got to get Sgt. Pepper. Having had this idea for these years. And called McCartney's office, called Sony, ATV, because I knew that not only would I have to get Paul and Ringo's and Olivia Harrison's and Yoko Ono's release, as well as Sony ATV's release, which meant Catherine Jackson, right, and all of the estates and litigators, etc. And lo and behold, it was magical. It was really wonderful, and much to Paul's credit, I got official confirmation within 3 days, 72
Helps to have
hours.
a relationship, right? Long-term relationship.
For more Q-Score, please check us out at emPOWERme.tv to find out what goes on behind the curtain and how the film and TV music gets made. It happens right here. Tune in.